Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive.
Yeah.
Today we're going to be exploring following your bliss,
Okay.
but with a bit of a twist.
A twist.
Yeah, we're going to try to connect it with art
Interesting.
and ancient wisdom.
Okay.
And to do that, we're going to use the sources that you sent.
Yeah.
So we have that YouTube video analyzing a painting
Right.
called Follow Your Bliss
Okay,
through the
right.
lens of the I Ching.
Got it.
We also have some excerpts from a book about the painting.
Okay.
And then also a foreword from the book
Ah,
that links Zen philosophy and art history to enlightenment.
sounds fascinating.
Yeah. So get ready to blend
Okay.
visual art and philosophy and some personal introspection
Got it.
as we unpack what following your bliss really means.
So it's not just about that
Yeah.
that kind of surface level understanding of just like feeling good.
Right.
It's about
Yeah.
something deeper.
Exactly. Yeah.
The-
So to start, we have this painting. That's described as almost like a mystical tapestry with vertical sections.
Right.
Almost as if we're peeking through windows
Uh-huh.
or ancient doors
Oh.
into different worlds.
I like that.
Yeah. And so what are your thoughts on this fragmented style?
Yeah, well, I think it really kind of
Yeah.
reminds me of how finding your bliss is rarely a straight line.
Right.
You know, it's more like a winding path
Mhm.
with twists and turns and unexpected detours.
Okay. So like, oh
The
no.
hidden crossroads.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
Much like the fragmented nature of the painting.
it's a reflection of the journey itself.
Exactly.
Okay. And the painting has all these recurring symbols.
Yeah.
Like infinity signs, red starfish shapes.
Yeah.
And these strange hanging orbs.
Hmm.
It's almost like a visual language that we
Uh-huh.
need to decode.
Right.
Did any of those symbols jump out at you?
Well, the water flowing at the bottom of the painting really caught my eye.
Okay.
The water. Yeah, because it connects all these separate sections,
Right.
which seems to suggest that there's a common thread,
Ah.
a shared current running through all our experiences,
Got it.
even when they seam fragmented.
So like a river as a symbol of life's journey.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of water, the YouTube video mentions the I Ching
Uh-huh.
and a specific hexagram called the abysmal water.
Okay.
What do you make of that connection to the painting?
The water in the painting isn't calm and tranquil.
Right.
It's deep
Yeah.
and swirling.
Mm.
It kind of hints at hidden depths
Yeah.
and potential turbulence.
Okay.
So the abysmal water hexagram from the I Ching
Yeah.
speaks to navigating uncertainty
Okay.
and adapting to change,
Uh-huh.
much like water itself.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it reminds us that challenges are inevitable on any path,
Right.
even the pursuit of bliss.
So how can we apply this idea of the abysmal water
Yeah.
to our own lives?
Right. Well, the book's foreword might hold a clue. It talks about how art history itself mirrors our own journey of self-discovery.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Art has evolved from realism to abstraction,
Mm-hmm.
much like our own perception evolves over time.
Okay.
What initially seems clear and straightforward
Yeah.
often reveals hidden depths and complexities
Okay.
as we grow and change.
So you're saying there are parallels between
Yeah.
the evolution of art
Mm-hmm.
and following your bliss.
Absolutely. Think about art movements like Impressionism,
Okay.
Expressionism, and abstract art.
Yeah.
They're all about moving beyond the surface,
Mm-hmm.
capturing the feeling or energy of an experience.
Okay.
It's like Zen philosophy's emphasis on direct experience,
Got it.
or the I Ching's concept of constant change.
Yeah. So instead of clinging to fixed ideas
Right.
of what bliss should look like,
Yeah.
we need to be open to the flow,
Uh-huh.
the ever-evolving nature of our understanding.
Exactly.
So we're not looking for a fixed destination,
Right.
but rather embracing the journey and trusting the process,
Hmm.
even when it feels uncertain.
Exactly.
It reminds me of what you said earlier about how the painting itself
Yeah.
doesn't give us clear-cut answers,
Uh-huh.
but invites us to explore and interpret to
Yeah.
find our own meaning.
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear your thoughts on how the I Ching and Zen philosophy
Okay.
might offer practical advice for our listeners who are
Yeah.
trying to apply these concepts to their own lives.
Okay, let's take the just seeing concept from Zen philosophy, for
Oh.
example.
Okay.
It's about letting go of preconceived notions
Okay.
and experiencing things as they are without judgment.
Uh-huh.
Imagine you're feeling frustrated
Yeah.
because you haven't achieved a specific goal you set for yourself.
Right.
Instead of dwelling on that frustration,
Right.
just seeing could involve acknowledging your feelings
Uh.
and then shifting your focus to exploring new possibilities
Oh, right.
without judgment.
It's like approaching things with a beginner's mind.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how even ancient wisdom can offer relevant advice for our modern lives.
Hmm.
And speaking of finding our own meaning,
Yeah.
the book excerpt mentions Joseph Campbell's famous phrase,
Okay.
"Follow your bliss,"
Right.
and connects it directly to the painting's title.
Interesting.
Do you think we can interpret each panel of the painting
Yeah.
as a different chapter
Mm.
in our personal bliss narrative?
That's a fascinating perspective.
Yeah.
It's like each panel represents a different stage in
Yeah.
our journey
Mm-hmm.
with its own set of challenges and discoveries.
Okay.
The question then becomes,
Yeah.
how do we define our own bliss narrative?
Right.
What are the key elements?
Mm-hmm.
What symbols resonate with us?
Yeah, what about those hidden figures within each panel?
Mm.
They're not all human, right?
Right.
There are fish,
Yeah.
hands, lips,
Oh.
even what looks like shells and spirals.
Okay.
How do you interpret those?
Well,
Hmm.
they could represent different aspects of ourselves,
Okay.
different archetypes or energies that influence our journey.
I think some are clear and present,
Yeah.
while others are more hidden,
Okay.
waiting to be discovered.
So like almost like,
It's like those personality tests
yeah.
that reveal your top traits.
Uh-huh.
But there's this whole shadow self lurking beneath the surface.
Right.
Maybe those hidden figures represent the parts of ourselves we
Yeah.
haven't fully explored yet.
That's a powerful image.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder how we can become more attuned
Uh-huh.
to those hidden parts of ourselves.
Right. Well, I think it starts with paying attention to those whispers,
Okay.
those subtle hints from our subconscious.
Uh-huh.
Maybe it's a recurring dream,
Okay.
a sudden urge to learn something new,
Yeah.
or even a feeling of discomfort that we can't quite explain.
Right.
Those nudges might be trying to tell us something about ourselves,
Yeah.
about our path.
It's like those hidden figures in the painting
Uh-huh.
are beckoning us to look closer,
Right.
to delve deeper into our own inner landscape.
And I'm definitely ready to dive deeper into this painting.
Okay.
There are so many details that intrigue me.
Like what?
Like the red cross that stands out
Oh, yeah.
so starkly against the swirling colors.
Uh-huh.
What do you make of that?
That red cross definitely draws the eye.
Yeah.
The YouTube video suggests it could represent a moment of decision,
Okay.
a turning point on the path,
Uh-huh.
perhaps even a realization that shifts our course entirely.
Or maybe it's a warning, a sign to pause
Okay.
and ask ourselves if we're truly on the right track.
Interesting.
Yeah, it seems like a powerful symbol
Yeah.
with multiple layers of meaning.
Exactly. It could also symbolize the challenges
Okay.
we inevitably face on the path to bliss.
Right.
Remember, the journey isn't always easy.
Uh-huh.
There will be obstacles,
Yeah.
setbacks, moments where we question everything.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's not about avoiding those challenges,
Yeah.
but learning to approach them with resilience,
Yeah.
adapting to change,
Uh-huh.
trusting the flow.
Right.
Just like the concept of the abysmal water we discussed earlier.
Exactly.
It seems like we keep coming back to this idea
Yeah.
of embracing the uncertainty and fluidity of the journey itself.
You're absolutely right.
Okay.
And it's interesting how the book excerpt mentions
Yeah.
that the painting's fragmented style,
Mm-hmm.
with its multiple narratives running parallel,
Right.
could reflect how our personal myths
Yeah.
evolve over time.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's like our understanding of ourselves, our
Mhm.
purpose,
Yeah.
what brings us joy.
Right.
It all changes as we grow and evolve.
Right.
Each panel could represent a different chapter
Yeah.
in that ongoing evolution.
What stands out to you about this concept?
The key takeaway is that our bliss narrative isn't static.
Okay.
We're constantly adding new chapters,
Uh-huh.
revising old ones,
Okay.
maybe even tearing out a few pages along the way.
So it's a dynamic process.
It's a dynamic process.
So are you saying that it's okay to change our minds,
Absolutely.
to shift our goals,
Yeah,
to rewrite our bliss narrative as we go along?
that's the beauty of the journey.
Yeah.
The important thing is to keep moving forward,
Uh-huh.
to keep exploring,
Yeah.
and to stay open to those shifts in perspective.
It's like that river flowing through the painting,
Right.
constantly moving, adapting to the terrain.
Exactly. And just like that river,
Yeah.
our journey towards bliss is rarely a straight line.
Right.
There are bends,
Mm-hmm.
curves,
Yeah.
unexpected rapids,
Okay.
and moments of peaceful stillness.
Right.
It's all part of the experience.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, exactly. And just like that river, our journey towards bliss is rarely a straight line. There are bends, curves, unexpected rapids, and moments of peaceful stillness. It's all part of the experience.
Speaking of evolving narratives, the book's foreword also discusses how art history itself mirrors this evolution of perception, moving from realism to abstraction. What connections do you see between that idea and following your bliss?
Well, it's like we're constantly refining our understanding of the world and of ourselves.
Okay.
We start by seeing things literally,
Uh-huh.
but as we grow, we learn to appreciate the abstract, the unconventional, the things that defy easy definition.
So it's about looking beyond the surface,
Yeah.
much like those hidden figures in the painting invite us to do.
Right.
Do you see any connection between those hidden figures and the evolution of art from realism to abstraction?
It's an interesting parallel.
Yeah.
Those hidden figures could represent the parts of ourselves that are obscured by our initial perceptions.
Okay.
Much like abstract art challenges us to look beyond the literal representation of a subject.
I see what you mean. It's like we have to train ourselves to see beyond the obvious, both in art and in our own lives.
Yeah.
It makes me think about the tear drop symbol you mentioned earlier.
Sure.
You suggested it could represent rebirth or transformation, but I also wonder if it could symbolize the pain we sometimes experience on the path to bliss. What are your thoughts on that?
That's a valid interpretation.
Okay.
It's like those tears that we cry when we finally let go of something that's been holding us back.
Uh-huh.
Even if that letting go is painful, it allows us to step into a new chapter.
Right.
Even if that chapter is initially shrouded in sadness or grief.
It's like the painting itself. It's not all bright colors and whimsical symbols. There's
Yes.
depth and complexity there, even darkness.
Exactly. And those darker elements are just as important as the lighter ones.
Okay.
It's about embracing the full spectrum of experience, the light and the shadow, as we move toward wholeness.
And speaking of embracing the full spectrum, one detail that really struck me was how the artist drew inspiration from other artists,
Okay.
like Max Ernst, Leonora Carrington, Odilon Redon, and even Frida Kahlo.
Yeah.
What connections do you see there?
Well, those artists were all fascinated with the subconscious, with dreams, with symbolism.
Uh-huh.
Their work often explored the hidden realms of the psyche, much like this painting invites us to do.
So it's like this painting is part of a larger artistic conversation about the mysteries of human experience, the search for meaning and purpose.
Precisely. And by connecting to that lineage, the painting gains even deeper resonance.
Okay.
It's tapping into this rich tapestry of human creativity, of our collective fascination with the unknown.
So it's not just a standalone piece, but a continuation of an ongoing exploration of these universal themes.
Exactly.
It makes me think about the quote from the YouTube video, "Knowing others is intelligence, knowing yourself is true wisdom."
Yeah.
This entire deep dive feels like an exercise in self-knowledge and understanding our unique path to bliss, but also in recognizing the shared human experience that connects us all.
That's a beautiful way to put it. We're all on this journey together, each navigating our own unique path while simultaneously contributing to the collective tapestry of human experience.
We've covered so much ground already, and I'm starting to feel a bit overwhelmed by all these different ideas and concepts. It's exciting, but also a bit daunting. I'm wondering, how do we actually apply these insights to our everyday lives? It's one thing to analyze a painting and discuss philosophy, but how do we translate that into action?
That's a great question, and it's one that we all grapple with.
Right.
I think it starts with cultivating that mindset of just seeing that we talked about earlier, being present and open to experience without judgment or preconceived notions.
So instead of getting caught up in our heads overthinking everything,
Right.
we need to tune into our intuition, our gut feelings. Is that what you mean by just seeing?
Exactly. Those intuitive nudges often point us towards our bliss, even if it doesn't make logical sense at the time.
Okay.
It's about trusting the process, even when it feels messy or uncertain.
And remembering that it's a journey, not a destination, right?
Right.
There will be bumps along the way, detours, unexpected challenges, but that's all part of the growth process.
Exactly. And that's where the I Ching's concept of the abysmal water comes into play. We have to be prepared to navigate those choppy waters, to adapt to changing circumstances, to trust that even when we feel lost, we're still moving forward.
It's like what we were saying earlier about the painting's fragmented style. It reminds us that life is rarely a straight line.
Yeah.
It's full of twists and turns, unexpected detours, and hidden depths.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
And just like the river in the painting, our path to bliss will have moments of calm and serenity,
Uh-huh.
but it will also have moments of turbulence and uncertainty.
I like that analogy. It's a reminder that we don't need to have all the answers or a perfectly mapped out plan.
Right.
Sometimes it's about trusting the flow and being open to where it takes us.
And remembering that we have agency even in the midst of that flow.
Okay.
The YouTube video mentions a great quote, "Today, take one step towards something that excites you."
Okay.
We can choose to align our actions with our deepest desires,
Uh,
even amidst chaos and uncertainty.
I love that it reminds us that we're not just passive passengers on this journey. We have the power to steer the ship, to adjust our sails, to navigate the waters in a way that feels aligned with our own unique bliss narrative.
Precisely. And sometimes those small steps lead to the most profound transformations.
Right.
It's like that teardrop symbol in the painting, shedding the old to make way for the new.
Speaking of transformations, the painting's fragmented style with its multiple narratives also suggests that our understanding of bliss itself might evolve over time.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that?
It's like what we were saying about art history, mirroring our own evolution of perception. What brings us bliss at one stage of life might not be the same thing that brings us bliss at another stage.
Okay.
Our understanding of bliss is fluid, just like the river in the painting.
So it's not about finding this one perfect, unchanging definition of bliss, but rather about being open to how our understanding of it evolves as we grow and change.
Exactly. It's an ongoing process of discovery. And what matters most is that we keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep listening to those whispers from our own hearts.
It's like those hidden figures in the painting. They're a constant reminder that there's always more to discover, more to learn about ourselves and the world around us.
And those discoveries are often where we find the most profound and lasting sense of bliss.
Well, I have to say this deep dive has been incredibly thought-provoking so far.
Me too.
We've explored so many different layers of this idea of following your bliss, and I'm feeling inspired to continue this exploration in my own life.
Me too. It's a reminder that this journey is ongoing and that there's always more to uncover, more to learn, and more to experience.
And that's what makes it so exciting. I'm curious, what about you, dear listeners? What's resonating with you most from our conversation so far? What connections are you making to your own experiences? What insights have sparked your curiosity? We'd love to hear your thoughts as we continue this deep dive into following your bliss. It's amazing how one painting can spark such a wide-ranging conversation about self-discovery and the pursuit of bliss.
Right.
We've covered so much ground from ancient wisdom to modern art movements, and I'm curious to hear what's resonating most with you, our listener. What connections are you making to your own life and experiences?
I think what's really resonated with me is this idea that following your bliss isn't about achieving some predetermined outcome
Right.
or arriving at a fixed destination.
Yeah.
It's about cultivating a way of being,
Uh-huh.
a mindset of openness and curiosity,
Yeah.
a willingness to embrace the unknown and trust the journey.
That makes sense. It's not about checking off boxes on some imaginary bliss to-do list,
Right.
but rather about approaching life with a sense of adventure and a willingness to learn and grow along the way. I'm remembering that quote we mentioned earlier from the YouTube video.
Yeah.
Knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom.
Right.
It seems like self-knowledge is a crucial part of this whole following your bliss process.
Absolutely. It's about understanding our values, our passions, our strengths, and even our shadows.
Right.
The more we know ourselves, the better equipped we are to make choices that align with our authentic selves.
It makes me think about those hidden figures in the painting.
Yeah.
They're a reminder that there's always more to discover about ourselves, more layers to uncover, more depths to explore. Do you have any thoughts on how we can access those hidden parts of ourselves and integrate them into our understanding of bliss?
It's like we were saying earlier about those whispers from our subconscious. Those whispers might come in the form of recurring dreams, intuitive hunches,
Yeah.
or even a sense of unease or discomfort that we can't quite shake.
So it's about paying attention to those subtle signals, those nudges from our inner wisdom.
Exactly. It's about creating space for stillness and reflection, listening to our inner voice, and trusting those intuitive insights, even when they don't make logical sense.
It reminds me of what we discussed earlier about the just seeing concept from Zen philosophy.
Yeah.
It's about approaching things with a beginner's mind, letting go of our preconceived notions, and allowing ourselves to see things as they truly are without judgment.
And that can be a powerful practice, both in terms of self-discovery and in terms of navigating the challenges that inevitably arise on the path to bliss. Remember the I Ching's hexagram of the abysmal water.
Right.
We're going to encounter rough waters, unexpected storms, and moments of disorientation.
So how do we stay afloat in those turbulent times? What advice would you offer to someone who's feeling lost or discouraged on their journey?
I'd remind them that those challenging moments are an inherent part of the process.
Okay.
It's like that red cross in the painting. It might symbolize a turning point, a moment of decision,
Huh.
or even a necessary sacrifice.
Or maybe it's simply a reminder that growth and transformation often involve discomfort.
Exactly. It's about remembering that those challenges are not roadblocks, but rather opportunities for learning and growth. They shape us, refine us, and ultimately guide us toward a deeper understanding of ourselves and our purpose.
It's like that quote from the YouTube video.
Uh-huh.
Today, take one step towards something that excites you.
Yeah.
Even when we're feeling lost or discouraged, we can still choose to take small actions that align with our values and aspirations.
And those small steps can create a ripple effect, leading to unexpected opportunities and breakthroughs. It's like those teardrops in the painting, shedding the old to make way for the new.
This has been such a rich and insightful exploration of following your bliss. We've covered so much ground, and I'm feeling inspired to continue this journey of self-discovery and creative exploration. But before we wrap up, I'd love to hear your final thoughts, dear listener. What resonated most with you today? What insights or ideas sparked your own reflections? What steps can you take, even small ones, to move closer to your own unique path of bliss? Remember, like the water in the painting, bliss is not a static destination, but a fluid and ever-evolving journey. Embrace the flow, trust the process, and keep exploring until next time. May your journey be filled with wonder, discovery, and of course, bliss.